it begins with the famous line, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Jesus, of course, is in agony on the cross as he proclaims this, but we would be absolutely wrong if we missed that Jesus intentionally quoted this passage. Of all the things that Jesus could have said, and perhaps even the thing that Jesus sang on the cross. Remember, he knows this is a song. He cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from my deliverance?" Now, to put this into context, this is a psalm of David. This is likely meaning that David is the author. David lived approximately 1,000 years before Jesus came to the earth. So this is a psalm of David that Jesus intentionally quotes, and it's a psalm of agony. It's a psalm of distress, of a servant of God crying out to God, saying, "God, where are you? God, why have you delivered me over to my enemies?" And of course, as you read this psalm, you're going to notice many specific things about the crucifixion that really jump out at you. For instance, we have here in verse 7, "Everyone who sees me mocks me. They sneer and shake their heads." Verse 8, these are people, this is the mockery that they gave. "He relies on the Lord. Let him save him. Let the Lord rescue him, since he takes pleasure in him." In other words, here is someone who is defenseless. He's being mocked by people. He can't help. He can't do anything to get away from it. Verse 11, "Don't be far from me, because distress is near. There's no one to help." Verse 12 and following, "Many bulls surround me. Strong ones of Bashan encircle me. They open their mouths against me. Lions mauling and roaring." There are some, by the way, who argue that that has spiritual overtones of the forces of darkness mocking Jesus and believing that they had won the victory. We have here in verse 15, "My strength is dried up like clay, like baked clay. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth." We have in verse 16, "For dogs," possibly a signal for Gentiles here, "have surrounded me. A gang of evildoers has closed in on me. They have pierced my hands and my feet." Verse 17, "I count all my bones. People look and stare at me." Verse 18, "They divided my garments among themselves, and they cast lots for my clothing." All of these have resonances in the New Testament as we think about the crucifixion of Jesus. But what I want us to look at here is not those specific prophecies of the crucifixion. I want us to consider how the psalm itself leads us not only to the idea of the Son being abandoned, but in particular, there is an answer to the prayer. And please hear me, Jesus knew this. Jesus was fully aware of this on the cross. As he said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He knew that by the time you get to the end of the psalm, the man who was distressed, the man who was mocked, the man who was beaten and bruised and pierced, he would be answered.